Top of the morning to you. Hey, hey, hey. I'm here at the desk doing a little, you know what I got to do first? Is sharpen my pencil. Yeah. I don't have a pencil sharpener up here. I should probably get one of those, but this is how my dad sharpened his pencils anyway, you know? You never sharpen a pencil like this. You just never hold it and whittle it. You're not whittling a toothpick. You're doing fine tuning here. So you just slide the sharp knife blade across the pencil like this. Graphite anyway, right? Don't mess with that pencil. You'll get lead poisoning. I don't think so. Okay. Hey, a little different intro this morning. I decided not to enter. I'm using a pencil. I don't use pencils much. And so I thought I'd just start off with a cup of tea, a pencil, a piece of 140 pound. And let me open up the window here so I can see. Oh, some of you are already popping on there. Sorry, I didn't have my little window closed this morning. Been running around. It's Monday, you know. I got a little grace. Any scars on that thumb? Oh my gosh, yes, Skeeter. But that's how you sharpen a pencil anyway. Unless you have one of those. Look at this. I'm just going to freehand this. All right, Sting, you're going to have to hold you down just a little bit here. So here's the thing. I'm going to say hello in just a minute, but I wanted to just get started on this little pencil sketch. Guess what I did last night to remind me of this, right? Every year I paint something about the Tour de France. Carol and I actually watch the Tour de France, and we don't necessarily watch it for, we don't necessarily watch it because we're cyclists. We just, years ago, we actually rode 450 miles. Let me clear that up. We didn't ride exactly 450 miles. We went to Roanoke, Virginia with our bicycles, and we just rode the downhill places back on the Blue Ridge Parkway. We go like, hey, going to Mitchell is way too tough. So load up the car, load up the bikes, and so we drive those two, and then we drive down and had some friends with us. And what a great trip. We were young and thought we were something else. And so anyway, so I always do a bike every year at the Tour de France. I do a Tour de Roo or a Tour de French Toast. It's what I always called ours anyway. And so, but let me say hello and I'll show you what I'm going to do with this and why I started with the pencil. Okay, there's a bicycle coin. So let me say hi here. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you're piling on already. Taberly, good morning to you. Lori Stanley, good morning to you. Viveka, is it Viveka? Wow, love that name. Donna, thank you. Bobby King, Jan Campbell, Joy Eakin, I see your work. Andy, Skeeter Powell. No, I sharpened my thumb without any scars. Lynn Miner. Denise Albright, thank you for joining me. Donna Sell Barton. Laurie, thank you for being on. I'm having a wonderful day so far. I had a guy coming by just a few minutes ago. I'm looking out my window here to clean out my gutters. It's raining buckets right now. You know, the point is you reach an age where you just go, stay off the ladder, stay off the roof, you know, whether you're agile or not, okay? I haven't fallen off my chair yet painting watercolor, but I'm not going to get on the roof anymore. Don't need to, don't have to. Terry Tardy, good morning to you from all the way out in Oregon. Thank you for being here. Phil Wilbarger, you got a great wit, man. I appreciate your art. Viv Liam, Margaret, my singer, thank you. Randall Taylor Craven, Virginia Man. Good night, Carol Bender. Hey, I never get tired of saying the names of people that I see pop up. It's familiar, and I feel like you're old internet friends, as they say. Isn't that fun? Julie, thank you. Julie, thank you for your note. Margie, thank you. The Splash Queen, as I call her. Margie's always saying, splash it. So, Margie, I love to see your work. Patricia, Julie Hendrick, thank you. Patricia Brooks, thank you. Love keeping up with you. Chris Whitaker, Yvonne, golly, Alex Mebin. There you go. Tour de Smokies. Yeah, you know, I actually saw the bikers. We actually went one time. A lot of the tour guys came through on a special tour, and they came through in the Biltmore State. And I've been working on some car commercials on the Biltmore State, and worked on some of the first Lexus commercials there. And so, because we live just not far from the Biltmore, and rainy days and Mondays always make me paint. Michelle, that's for you right there. Fern Skelly, thank you. Beth May Taylor, Irma, thank you for your notes and gifts. And Alice Jordan, Carol Todd, woohoo! Jacqueline Diaz, good morning to you with the horse on the picture. So there you have it. Dolores, Mickey, goodness gracious. Let me just stop for a second and I'll come back and pick this up. So glad you're here, Beverly French Davis. I saw some of the little people you're painting. Some of you hit that, huh? And by the way, this is where you steal from artists. Okay, this is why people do art to create, to help other people do art to create. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Let me turn this music down just a little bit, or stop it just for a second here. And let me explain this. Let me just look you in the eye and say good morning. Good morning to you. Thanks. Here's where you don't really steal, you don't really plagiarize, but you pastiche is the French word. You do copy what other people have done. My art is a conglomerate, an eclectic mess of other people that I've seen. Lucy Watson, Leon Zen, Joe Miller. Notice I haven't named anyone that's lived in the 1800s, mostly people all through the century that I've lived in, because that's the style that I go. Carol Bomer is a dear friend of mine and Carol's, and her media style of mixed media, biblical narrative, Carol, Soleil de Gloria Studios in Asheville. My Carol and that Carol used to paint together back in the 80s, and then Carol took this route of biblical narrative, and we owned several of her paintings, and actually we helped a church start an art gallery one time, and we had 45 of her paintings that we brought in. But her style, and watching her take paper and turn it around and upside down and turn it this way and look at it, helped me to even break some rules. So lots of people like that, we borrow from them as we develop our own style. And I hope that's what Roo857, not just Monday and Tuesday when I paint for fun and I paint with friends, but that's also what the class is about. And by the way, the class, today's the last day to sign up for the class, and the sign up will last. You don't have to stop now. You can continue watching this show if you want to sign up, and several of you have. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to that. I have an email ready to go and about what's going to happen in the next week on that site. And I'm going to open up Roo857 probably in a couple, 2 or 3 days. There'll be some videos on there, some things for you to get your space ready. We'll talk about the space and all that. We'll try to get some housekeeping done before we get into the class, so you don't feel like we're using class time to go, well, why didn't I squeeze this paint out of this tube earlier? Some of you are already ready to go. You've gotten your paint. If you don't have your paint, don't sweat that either. You got plenty of time to pick up some great paint before then. Anyway, my point of that was that we all pull from places as we make it our own visual voice, and we figure out where it is we want to go. And by the way, let me just say, I spent 20 minutes probably this morning with a cup of tea really early going through Roo's Crew, and first of all, I'm impressed. Second of all, I'm flattered that you have a public site called Roo's Crew. And when I scroll down through there and I see some roosters and Roodoodle-esque and pastiche where you've copied and put some things and putting in your own comments, and also some of you who've taken turns toward flowers and birds and horses and dogs and people's faces, you are amazing. So you're thinking like an artist, and that's what this time was supposed to do. This time was supposed to do several things. One, to give me something to focus on and purpose during COVID when I started it over 112 days ago. The other was to not even know I was going to build a community, but just that was the blessing upon blessing that you just started coming in and you started feeding this and asking questions, and I got to answer and make things up and tell stories. So thank you for that. So today at 8:57 p.m., 8:57 p.m. on this Monday, August 31st, is the last day of signups for the September class. You can still sign up for the October class. There's some spaces there, but today finishes 8:57 p.m. We'll take whoever signs up until that time. You can go to Roodoodles.com to do that. All right, so that's some of my housekeeping this morning, because we're getting into a point where I'm going to try to do that all on Wednesdays. And yes. And Patricia, you just posted something there that I see. I was going to say the other day, just in a quick little thing. I'm looking for it. Here it is. Okay, let me go back to a shot of the desk here. Picture in picture. There it is right there. The other day, just with a big bamboo brush, and it was a pretty good sized brush, actually. I think it was one of these. I have some big ones here, so sometimes I just get crazy. In fact, my next door neighbor just asked for me to paint him a large Roodoodles, and I'm talking 2 by 3 feet. That goes in his office, and I said, he's an earth mover guy. And I said, big graders. And I said, I'll do it if you'll let him be standing on a shovel. and 1 foot on a shovel. And he goes, I like it. So I went, good. Okay. So, but this painting I did with a big brush, not hardly that big, but probably this big. And I was talking about when you wet a bamboo brush, you get this great point on the end, and you can go in and touch it, and then you can press it out. And Bob Burgess, who I, of course, have just copied one of his, I just watched him one day for about 15 minutes, and I went, I got to try that. And so I haven't done it more than 5 or 6 times, but I just threw it down here, and this little painting appears, and you just go, he says you got to paint people silhouetted like carrots. And I thought, that man is a genius. So thank you, Bob. And you get the credit for this. But I just, and then I don't know if he puts captions or not, but I'm a storyteller, so I put captions. And I saw some of yours this week. I saw Pat Brooks, and I saw Beverly Davis's. I saw piling them up and cartooning with them and putting captions on them. And sometimes this is what I'm talking about when I say we need a quick journal sketch. Okay? So it's not that you steal from the artist, but you take from them something and you twist it and you turn it, and 60% of that goes into your own style and you make it yours. That's how the apprentice work under the people back in the old days. So I see some things that you do and I go, whoa, look at that. That's fascinating. Look how those people, I have horrible handwriting, and so I only wish I'd have taken a calligraphy class somewhere. I wish I had an art class when I was in school, but then you got to go to school for that. So, all right, so here we are. So I got a bicycle going. This was the one I posted the other day. I actually ripped it off the piece of tablecloth. So people ask me all the time, well, you can't paint on bad paper. Oh, yes, you can. Take a look. Okay, this is just, that's it. Okay, this is not even butcher paper. It's thinner than that. It's what they sell commercially to put on Italian tables where they have linen underneath, and they sometimes come and write their name on it. In this case, it's a little classy restaurant for that, but didn't stop me from bringing a little paint and a water brush and jumping in there. And I had a beautiful penne pasta dish with zucchini and eggplant and peppers, but I had shrimp put in it. And so that's what gave me the idea of this shrimp cocktails up. And that's a different painting. I'll probably do this painting in bright watercolors and not just on a tablecloth. So this is about 6 minutes of sketching at Via Roma, great restaurant. All right, here we go. So last night, Carol and I, we watched the Tour de France. And so we were telling a friend one day, we said, oh, we're watching the Tour de France. And he said, that's like watching paint dry. And I said, the good part about that is I like to watch paint dry. That's just who I am. I watch paint dry all the time. I watch paint dry every day. And I love it. I like to see what it does when it dries and changes and moves. And so that's not boredom for me. That's excitement. All right, so here we go. Thank you guys for all the comments. Terry Tardy, you did sign up for October's class. Oh, thank you very much. You can do that. And is Roo's Crew a separate group? John Small, it is. And I didn't start it. It's a public group that it's not a private piece. It's not under Michael Hahn. It's not under Roodoodles. It's under Roo's Crew Public. And so someone started it just as I hate to say this word, but a fan page. But I'm honored that there is one out there. And I think there's 130 or 40 people who are already on it, and they're posting paintings. And so sometimes I don't get a chance to go to it. But this morning with a cup of tea, I just scroll through it. And it's impressive. You guys are doing some great things. And I got a few laughs. So I may be stealing from some of you, which is fantastic. In fact, I saw something from Alex, and I just purchased a painting from Alex, a small little one of his illustrative cartoons, I think. Man, they are fabulous. He has developed his own style, and I love it. It's really the style that he looks like he's going to communicate to life and God and country and all mankind and just his faith. And I love it. And don't separate your categories, Alex. You were thinking about doing that, I think. No, man, just put it all out there, because, one thing you learn when you go to Israel is that people say, well, that's sacred or that's secular. No. There's just one thing. It's how you treat it. So if you treat it with a secular theme, it's secular. If you treat it with a sacred theme, it's sacred. And so just put it out there and let the message fall, brother. You're doing good stuff, okay? Some of you are doing fabulous stuff. All right, so the reason I did this with a pencil is look at this. Margaret says she's been practicing her carrot people. Well, if you hear that, send Bob a note. I don't know Bob personally. I just know of him through name dropping in artist world. Of this artist says, "Oh, Bob showed me this," or "Bob showed me that," or it's like, hey, didn't come on, what's his name? Was his name Bob too? Didn't he show everybody stuff when he used to paint little happy trees? Yeah. Okay. Everybody watched him as a child. Okay, here we go. So sometimes when I paint with pencil, it means I'm getting ready to do a drawing in a drawing, and I have to have certain things behind the others. So I'll do the bike in pencil just to position it. I think you can see that there. And then I'm going to do the rooster here. So of course it's a rooster, and he's on the Tour de France. So this person says, well, we were watching the Tour de France. I said, we were watching the Tour de France. And, oh, you watch it for the cyclist? I said, oh my gosh, you're missing the whole point of the Tour de France. The Tour de France, you watch it for the travel log it does in France. Oh my gosh, the helicopters that hover over the small towns. And guess what the tallest building is in every town? You know? It's the church. It's there. They built it. It's the highest one. And so it could be spotted from the other places and down in the low part of the valley, or even from the town. You go, it's over by the church. You can see the steeples. You can see the high part. You can hear the bells. So those helicopters hover on about 5 scenes last night. They hovered around and they found all these mountaintop towns, which are just unbelievable. You want some creative people. Talk about landscapes to paint. Wow, remarkable. And so I told my friend, we don't watch it just because we keep up with all the bikers, but over the years, we do know who they are. The cyclists, they would rather be called than bikers. We watch it because it's a travel log. And so he said, well, I'd rather watch paint dry. And I said, well, I do that too. But I got to show you something funny that happened last night as I paint this. In fact, I'm not going to dilly-dally anymore. I'm just going to show you what it was. We're watching it, and watch this. I'm going to roll this video. And of course, it's against the law. I just recorded it with my phone over this, but you need to see it. Watch this.
Maybe it would have been better if he is unable to get.
All right, so here's a little spot from the tour. And you're thinking, what is he doing? And why is that there? Look here. Watch what happens. Wait, it's buffering just a little bit. Hold on 1 second here. Let me get out of this. Hang on. I'm going to come back to it. Don't go away. Come on. Clean up your act here.
If he is unable to get through this stage, to have not brought him into the Tour de France, only day 2, tough moment.
Okay, well there's the man in green making the race for the first sprint at Lac du Bloc. We'll take a break. We'll be back before Peter Sagan arrives there.
All right. Did you see what I stopped on? Look at this. This is a break in the Tour de France. And here's what happens. This guy, they cut away to a guy with a small little palette of paint. They look like they're either Van Gogh or they're probably Winsor Newton. I can't tell. Don't know where he is, where he's from. He's got his water brush out or his marker, and he's doing watercolor painting bikers. Come on. I just captured that last night. Carol goes, look at that. Is that not remarkable? Watch this. I love it. There it is. Another little shot. He's moving the paper around. You saw a biker go by. There's some yellow, red. It's brought to you by Rocket Mortgage, but what can I say about those guys? There it is. It's done. It's out of here. I love it. Was that not fun? Captured it right there. Okay. So I thought somebody else. She goes, look, somebody else does what you do. And I go, well, I probably copied it from somebody else, which was my whole story point this morning. All right, so this rooster is leaning over the handlebars a little bit. And I could probably do him in pen if I wanted to. He's blowing back here a little bit. He's a little low in the saddle, but he's maybe going uphill. So his legs are going to be coming in like this on top of the paddle right there, or the pedal as they call it. In the South, it's the paddle. That's what you have a canoe, right? The other foot's going down that way. There it is. Here's his tail flying out this way. All right, so you see what's happening there? Now I'm just going to grab my pen and go. So the reason I did all this was so that I could see where I needed to hide the bike and bring the Roo in. So that's where a pencil is great to use, unless you're just fabulous at perspective art, and I'm not. So do I know how to cheat? You bet I do. Okay, so here we go. So let me just do this. I'll just ink this guy in here a little bit with this number 5 Pentel Inner Gel pen. So today at 8:57 p.m., that's Monday the 31st. That's the closing of the September class for Roodoodles 857. So if you want to be a part of the class, sign up before today at 8:57. And don't even start to ask me why I put everything in sevens, because it's not that important. But it is kind of funny to do every now and then. Okay, so I got some feathers hanging out here. That's why I brought those in. I wanted some here, want some under there where they're hooked down over the seat. Then I'll come down with this rod and I'll put the crank in right here. There it is on the bike. It's a sprocket, so it has little holes in it. How do I know that? Because I looked at bicycles growing up. This pedal is up. This pedal is up. This one is probably, that leg can't be up or down, so it's got to probably go down here. And so I'll bring this leg down just a little bit differently and a little lower and have that one out here. There's a toe right there. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to put some more rods in here like this. Look, this is crudely, quickly drawn, but what are we doing? We're telling a story that's my whimsical style. That's what I do. So you are saying, well, I'm a fine artist, and so I got to do still life and things that don't move. I like to paint things that do move. All right, so the spokes are all crossed a little bit. You know how that works. A little bit of an extra wheel in here. Got some dots coming out. I could have used a template to draw the tires and wheels, but they really didn't need to be all that circular. You know, they're in motion, so maybe they look elliptical. Maybe he's going up the hill. No, Carol does not draw into tablecloths too. Let's see. Funny, I painted a picture of a bicycle yesterday. There you go. Look at that. Bob Ross. Thank you, Marion Jones. Thank you, Viv Lim. It was Bob Ross. Everybody jumped in. It was Bob Ross. Yep. By the way, you know, somebody said they love churches in Europe. Aren't they cool? The churches in Europe. And you know that all the churches in Europe used to have in the 1100s, and I've told the story before. I've told every story in my life before. That's why I can retell them, I think. But they had all the churches early in Europe, especially in Germany, had crosses up on top of them. But in the 1100s, I think it was, maybe the early 1200s, I'm not sure, there was a pope who said all the Protestant churches are changing their, and I've got the story wrong, but you'll get the idea when I finish it. They're changing the piece on top of their church. They're going with a rooster. So almost all the Protestant churches had roosters. And then there was a pope who said, no, they all have to have crosses, but most of the Protestant churches stayed with the rooster. And they did that as a reminder of Peter's story of where the rooster crows and not to deny Christ. Pretty interesting story, isn't it? Look it up and you'll see why are roosters on crosses in Europe. Europe's got some great customs, you know. They do. They have just, you know, we think we have an old history. It's like, yeah, really? Nah, forget it. All right, so here's something that I want to do that I don't think you probably thought of on your rooster, and I did one of these a few years ago. I'm gonna draw a shirt on mine, and I'm gonna do a just to show you that I keep up with the tour a little bit. I'm just gonna do the shirt on here that you get for King of the Mountain. There it is right there. So maybe just put some of these peaks over here like this. Put this out. So I got, see, looks like he's climbing up the mountain. He's going that way. So he's got a ways to go. Man, that's some of the, when you see the layout of the thing, it just blows your mind, doesn't it? What those guys actually put themselves through and ride. Woo. Hey, always keep the paints a little moist. I keep mine in here answering some questions. Just for those of you who are painting, I don't close this lid. I don't cover these paints. Maybe if I went away for a month or two and didn't touch them, or a year or 5 years or 10 years, like some of you are going like, I've got watercolors, I should go get them. You know, there may be a time where they've dried out and becoming too crusty to use. I've never seen that happen with my paints, but then I spray these down every day because I paint something every day. So all I'm doing right now is just grabbing a little bottle. And by the way, if you can't find one of these little Mr. bottles here, this is from Holbein. just find a tiny, tiny spray bottle, that puts out the finest mist you can find. And so just wet them a little bit like this. That'll just loosen them up and give them a second, set them aside. I do that. I haven't had any problem with mold or mildew or anything like that. So, it's just water and pigment. So it's not like I'm painting with peanut butter or honey. Sometimes if you mix your paints with honey, and by the way, people do that. Some of the early additive was different oils and honeys and things like that. I'm sure olive oil was huge. All I'm doing now is taking my eraser and I'm just knocking out some of the pencil lines. Sometimes I don't even do that because you guys hardly ever see me use an eraser or a pencil, or even a pencil. But there are times that I do it just simply because I just want a few less lines in this and a little less busyness. This is a busy painting already. Let me knock this off on my white shirt, my khaki pants. I feel like I'm going to, I don't know, to a board meeting or something today. It was just a little cool. It was not really cool, but it was kind of rainy looking. And so I just put on my old white shirt. And this is my old one. It's got green splatter here, turquoise on one side. This is one of those I don't ever iron. Just throw it in the wash and wear it when I feel like it. Okay, here we go. We'll start in with a little comb action here. There it is right there. Just sort of painting that in. Just dry paper, 140-pound paper with a little bit of red. The water is coming through in my red ink and my bamboo brush. Just putting it in like that, okay? Touch a little of this red down in here just because I want it in the color. All right. So just start at the top and change colors. Some people go in and put in all the red. Some people will make a mess right away. Sometimes paint is, when you're painting wet on wet, it just goes where it wants to, like that. Zip! Went running up through there. I kind of liked it though. Okay. Let me get my palette over here so you can see a little bit more of what I'm grabbing. Can you see that just a bit? I think you can. I have a page in front of it, but oh yeah, there we go. That's cool. You can see that, I think. Everybody can see that. Oh, you know what? I saw that where a horse jumped the fence and ran with the bikers. Oh my gosh, that was like a year or two ago. That horse was just sprinting down the field and the helicopters were on him. Perfect time. Don't you love that? All right, Speed Racer. Look up why there are pelicans on a communion's chalice. No, I'll do that, Luann. So thank you. I love it. Senelia likes to mildew. Well, Senelia, Robert Small, Senelia is the oldest paint in the world. So if it wants to mildew, it can just do whatever it wants. But you've heard me tell about being in Sennelier, right? Yeah, man. I went to Sennelier in France. Marched down the street to Sennelier. And, I can remember those stories so well. Let me show you. Watch this. Here's my journal from France. This is just one page, right? I always talk about this just being one page of paper. It just keeps accordingly pulls out. But right here, watch this. These are quick sketches that I did. Here, Sennelier. There it is right there. Sennelier. Of course, I painted blue. Here's Le Cocorico. Here's this is the paint now. This, by the way, I walked by on the way to Sennelier, and it's a statue, a little bronze I quickly just did with pen as I'm walking along. And it's Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson was actually the ambassador to France early on, and he loved the place so much where he was staying that it had a dome roof. And he loved the dome roof so much that when he came back to Monticello, or Monticello, or Cello, tomato, he actually tore the roof off and built a dome roof off. And that's the one you see on the penny. So there's a little thing there that says 5 cents. See it? So this is how I do my journals. This was catching the train after Sennelier. Sennelier smelled a little bit like a musty art store, but man, was it good. It was a smell that made me want to be creative. And there's Monet's Garden, and there's some more of this, but that's kind of what I do. And so when I journal like that, it creates that picture in my brain, and I really love that. I really like the feel of that. I like the memory of that. And so that's where I hope you're headed with your work. when you share something, you share a little story. And this painting that I was talking about doing yesterday in Bob Burgess style, the little carrot people, or 2 days ago, whenever I did it, I just painted those people. And then there was this little, that was a drop, and it just brushed out. And so then I thought, this person needs to be walking a little dog. And so I was a little careful right there to put the dog ears in with that big old brush. But then I thought, they're at the beach. And so I just took what's left of that brush and hit some yellow over here and some sandy green color. And then I thought, wow, the wind's coming in. And so I created this little painting. Look, it's 3 by 3 inches. As he throws it across the mat there. Okay, we'll get a little black in here. I just feel like I need a little bit of black. And of course, who could do a Tour de France painting without a little bit of turquoise? And in fact, you know what? That's it. I'm going to do the bike in turquoise. I think I've done that before with bikes. So there we go. Bike's going to be turquoise. I love this paint as it just pops. It makes everything pop. Can't see the seat, of course, because his big old fluffy bottom is covering all that up. And so anyway, you get a feel for this Roo just blasting up the hill. And we're going to take some of this right here. It's kind of I don't know what color that is. And I don't really care. It looks like a bold red wine. I think that's probably what it is. So if I were naming paints, I'd be using a little bit of the bold red right now. It's kind of cherry red, isn't it? Kind of cool. That'd be good to do still life cherries out of. I bet I could do some cherries on there. I have a friend who just wrote a book recently called Put a Cherry on Top. And she's a dear, dear friend and a businesswoman in a major company. And the book is, in fact, it looks like cherry stems on a shirt. The book's about hospitality. And, man, it's good. A lot of companies don't see hospitality as a useful tool in what they do, and a lot of companies miss the mark. I bet they're going to see it a little more now after this time in our lives where people really need hospitality, and they need help, and they need encouragement, and it's kind of what I want to do here a little bit. So thank you for riding along as I do this. It's kind of fun. I need a little more blue down here with these feathers. Just this. I'm just playing now. Look, I'm just putzing around here a little bit. I still have people that join the show and they go, that guy's not coloring in all the lines. Have you noticed that he's not, he's like missing it? And I'm going like, nah. I don't think so. I think I like the looseness. Did you notice that painting that guy was doing in the, on the Tour de France? Honestly, it had, he just was literally splashing the paint around those bikers, and he had sketched them, just rough sketched them. It's like the people who do courtroom sketches. Man, I have admiration for those people who can go in and people who can paint people. People who paint people. You know what I like? I like to just, if I want to be silly, I'm just silly. Sorry. It just happens. We worry so much about what other people think of what we do and say. Hey, speaking of silly people, man, my friend Michael Ashburn should be nearing the courthouse steps in Montgomery about right now. I've been keeping up with him all week. He spent better part of a week with Carol and I. We were feeding him, and I was teaching him some video skills to use on the road. And, man, that dude has walked his 54 miles. He had 6 more miles to go this morning when he started Central Time, about 6 a.m. And so he's doing great. He's tired. You can tell he's a country boy. You know what he said? He said, man, I am stove up. I didn't even know. I said, brother, nobody uses stove up anymore. Where are you from? He goes, Bean Blossom, Indiana. I said, man, I'm from the Appalachians, and we don't even say stove up anymore. So he's a fun guy. He's a great guy. He's been on a walk to raise money for a ministry in Atlanta that works with black teenagers. And so he walked from Selma, the Pettus Bridge, to the Montgomery Courthouse steps. The rumor was this morning the mayor was supposed to meet him in, I don't know if the mayor's showing up or not, but somebody said the mayor's going to be on the courthouse steps in Montgomery. So that'd be fun. If it is, I can't wait. Well, as soon as I'm off this show this morning, I'm going to jump online and see if I can find him and see how he's doing. Somebody sent me a note. Patricia, I think, sent me a note and said, should we do an auction to raise some money for Ash? And I said, no, let me just post an address where you can send a check if you want to send $5. Man, you imagine if everybody on the show sent $5? Make a difference in them getting a vehicle or hiring a second staff person or whatever they needed to do. So if you feel led, do that. Here's what I'll do. I can do this. I'll auction this rooster off this morning. We'll put this one off and say 54 miles to somewhere on here. And if anybody wants this biker, I'll send the money to Ash. There we go. That's a way to help him right there. He's going to be happy with anything he gets. Right now, he's just happy to have completed 54 miles. He called me, was it Thursday? And he goes, oh, man, I don't know. I just went 12 and a half miles. It rained part of the day. He's got a great shot he did of some cows that were, and he yelled at cows. He says, hey, you want to make a donation to, and so they all take off running. He goes, Mr. Great Opportunity there. All right. My funny friend Ash is completing his walk today. So I'll auction this painting off this morning and we'll pass the money off to Ash. That's the way. It just came to me right then. We'll do it. Honestly, it did. All right, so there we go. There's a little bit of mess. There's a little bit of black over here. We'll leave some room for that. Hey, it's not a fancy painting, but you know what? It's kind of a fun little painting for the tour. King of the Mountain, 54 miles to Hope. There we go. 54 miles to Hope. Roodoodles. To Ash. All right, there we go. All right, so a little quick little painting like that. So you can do something like that while you're sitting and watching the tour. Wouldn't that be fun to do? Julie says she's done bike tours in Italy, and yeah, don't you have respect? My brother-in-law and his wife have been there 5 times during the tour, and one time they took their bikes, and they have Mount Ventoux. They've actually ridden up that after the bikers would go, and man, you know what? He's a tough hombre. They've done that several times, and they enjoy the food and enjoy the artwork. I follow an artist. Carol does, really. She follows an artist from over in that area who paints a brilliant painting every day and auctions it off. Sometimes they're lavender fields, and they're small paintings. They're like oil paintings that are like 4x7. They're just gorgeous. All right, this thing needs a little bit of splatter on it. Where are you? Woohoo! Look at that. Okay. And I think it needs a little dirt splatter too. Let me get some little Payne's Gray in here. Come in here with a little bit of this. You know, it's just, this is rough. One thing I didn't draw here was a water bottle. There it is right there on the bottom. And I think what I'm going to do on this water bottle is I'm going to change it. See, here's a little something that you may not think of. And this is why I'm telling you that artists need to think different. And those of you who are English teachers are saying, did he just say think different and not differently? Oh my gosh. You know, Apple in 1984, their whole commercial was run on the fact that it said think different. They still do it today. You can get away with lack of adverbs and lack of LYs in art. And so, yeah, think different. And if you want to say Lee later, you can do that too. Okay, so. All right, so what am I drawing here? Well, I'm drawing a little, what would a chicken need to make it up this mountain? He'd need an ear of corn. So I just put a little ear of corn strapped on the bike right there. And then I need to put a little silk in here, kind of coming off like this, blowing back. There we go. So there's an ear of corn instead of a bottle of water. All right, it's 54 miles to Hope, and we'll auction that off today. And you can just bid in the comments if somebody wants it. Just put in there, hey, I'll start the bidding at, we'll at least give Ash, $5.40. So if somebody wants it, so you let your bids go up at least $1. And if you want, it starts at $5.40. And if you want to auction, if you want to help Ash, then go up. Like the next one will have to be right 640 and then 740, or you can go on up. Or if anybody wants that little painting, we'll send them. I'll send the money to Ash. I'll send you the painting. There it is, the mountain climber. Bingo, love it. Okay. And Ed, I'll do that too. Would you like that? Would you like me to auction a little 3x3? I'll do that too. Okay. Here it is. I think my wife likes this painting, but I'll auction it anyway. But this one's going to start a little different. I'll do it on my page. I'll do that one later today. Okay. I'll have to decide if I'm not keeping that one for someone like I'm married to. Okay. But thank you. All right. So, hey, let me paint something else this morning. Stove up. After picking up limbs in the yard. Yeah, Stove Up can do it. How can we watch Ash? Lori Stanley, you could go to Michael Ashburn on Facebook and you see some of his stories. The dude comes on every morning about 6 o'clock, and he's done now, but he would do a prayer just for friends and family, and then pray for black teenagers across the country that he's walking for. And this is my skinny white friend, okay? He is just a hoot, man. And he used one of my lines yesterday. I told him that you could sue his legs for non-support. I mean, he is like, Carol fed him well while he was here. So we got to get you carved up before you go. In fact, she was talking to him last night. But if you go to Michael Ashburn, remember this, banjo. He's got a banjo. It looks like you can see a profile of a banjo. He's playing a banjo on the front of his Facebook page. That's him. And you can follow his stories. He does a bedtime story at night. He's been doing this. He does a morning day post, and he did a morning prayer, and he's walked 54 miles a day, or 54 miles the last few days. And he walked from the Pettus Bridge to Montgomery Courthouse, and all just to raise money. So people across the country have been sending in checks and money, and he started it without any pomp and circumstance, wanted to walk it by himself. It's all for an organization called Young Life. And Terry Tardy, her family knows about Young Life really well. And Alex Mebane, they know about Young Life. And Skeeter, I heard him say yesterday that he might do a marathon in a wheelchair for Capernaum. So he's off on a new purpose. Hey, it's COVID. You reinvent yourself. And I pray that's what some of you are doing right now with your art. Some of you have the art to reinvent yourself. Some of you need small art businesses where you filter your art out to the world and make them smile and make them laugh and make them have hope. And there it is. I said it. Ha! I'm preaching today. Preaching. All right. Thank you guys for being on board. Let me say hello to a little people here. It's already 9:40. Lisa Haymaker, thank you for showing up. All right. Love the splatter. Of course you would, Margie. I love it. Thank you for letting me kid you about that. Young Life, there it is. Look at this. Bingo. Wow. Chinoa, thank you so much. If you'd like to support my Freedom Walk with a donation, there it is, the Atlanta Project. That's where the project is going. There's an urban project in Atlanta that Ash, you could say, Young Life, it's right there. It's in the quotes this morning. I don't know if the electronic giving is operating. It'll get there. It just takes a lot more time. So some people just been sending out checks. Okay, so, and Michelle, you started at 740. It's up to 1540. Okay, it's up to 125. It's up to $200. All right, so we know we're going to send him at least $200 this morning. So if you want to bid on this, it started at $5.40. If you want to bid on this, I'm going to send the money straight to Ash. And so that'll be great. I promise you, I have to send it to Ash because he's got to come back by here. We got to do some more videos together, so he's going to get it. All right, and I've been in touch with him all week. That's really fun. Thank you very much. And you're right, Terry. Young Life is reinvented itself with COVID, and I've been working on that. I hope the wheelchair marathon is all downhill for Ash. He really will be stove up. Yeah, no kidding, man. His little arms, he'll be saying, I'm going to sue my arms for non-support, not my legs. All right. Hey, thank you for that. It's going so far. So far, it's up to $200. Lee, grateful, bud, for you. Thank you, my friend. That'll be awesome. Okay. Had a great memory there and helping out a brother in the ministry. So I saw Pat was on his site this morning, too. All right. So here we go. Look at this. I like to draw roosters' heads sometimes. I penciled this one in last night while I was on a phone call. Had a late night phone call with two people. One, my son, working on the television show that I can't talk about. And also with some folks from Young Life in Nashville, some development folks that I'm working on a project with. And so It was a late call, and so I was sitting here doodling, and I thought, I want to do a rooster's head that looks a little bit like, and you see that eye coming in? He's like, when I penciled it in last night, I went, this rooster looked like he's saying, all right, get busy. Get busy. Today's the last day to sign up for Roo857 if you're going to be in the art class. So as soon as you hang up this morning, sign up. You got all day. Take some time. And if it comes in at 8:59, that's okay. In fact, if it comes in up till midnight, I'll take it. But I'd like to close it out because tomorrow, actually Wednesday, I'm sending out an email to you about getting ready. And then I'm going to probably the following day or so, I'll open up the page, which is a private group, Roo857 page. And I'll open up that page to the names registered. You'll be able to come on and you'll get a welcome letter from me. And then you'll start seeing some videos and ideas of how I set up my space. All that's in the email. Okay. Hey, thank you guys for buying books. The publisher just said I'm supposed to have some by probably tomorrow again. It looks like this. Hey, Roo, what's a wheelbarrow? And getting a phone call from the printer this morning, and we may even be able to release the mug. I'll have final prices and all that. May even be able to release it tomorrow on the show. I'll let you know so you can pre-sale it. I'll know exactly when it's coming in. I don't want to charge you too early before it comes. So I'll tell you all the thing on that. But that's, Hey, Roo, what's a wheelbarrow? Can be found at Roodoodles.com. You can also find it on Roodoodles Etsy shop. Either way, if you order it from Roodoodles.com, Shopify, or if you order it from Etsy, it comes, those are books that I have, and those are the ones that I sign with an autograph. If you order it from Amazon, it'll come directly from Amazon or the publisher, and you won't have an original in it. So if you want it signed an original, it's a few bucks more because I pay the postage both ways. All right. Hey, Alex, you're using a 0.3 needle tip. Yeah, you know what? I have one of those here. It's a darker, like a gray pen. Great pen. I love that. I used to use it on all my honeybees, man. And Christine, thank you for loving the book. And right now I'm looking at the bags and the printer has had, look, everybody, thank you for your patience. Everybody's had a delay. I'm still looking at the bags. And so we're probably going to print a black bag as opposed to, I don't know, I may go back and just print a more expensive bag and do a few if people want them. And I may print a bag like mine. I may just go ahead and get these, or I'll tell you where to get these. Look, you can get this bag at, order it from Klein. You can get this bag. Oh, you can't even see it, can you? I'm just a crazy person. I apologize. You can get a Klein bag from, you can get it from a big box store. I think Home Depot sells these in a pack. You can get a Klein. Here's a brand new clean one. Can you tell? I've carried this bag for over 10 years. Okay. So I'm going to get a black bag that's this size, and I'm going to put my Roo on it. But I'm probably going to get a few of these Kleins and send them down to the printer, and he's going to do the same rooster head on here in white, the bug out bag. It's just a handy, heavy duty bag, and so that's what I carry all my stuff in when I hit the road. There's a few cards. There's a water pen. There's all the pens that I love to use are in there, and a brush. There's always a bamboo brush in there. There's always an aqua brush or a water brush. That's one of these. Has water in it. Just squeeze it, the water comes out. That's what I paint with when I'm in church. Went to church this week. Put on a mask and went to church. Pretty fun. The music was good. The pastor was there, so I didn't have to yell at him through the TV. And I think I'm out of ink in this pen. How about that, huh? So I was going to be real creative and paint something with that, but I'm not. So let's just don't worry about it. Yeah, I want to worry about it, though. I want a flare pen. I'm looking. I'm digging. Here we go. That's a blue one, I think. I got a box of pens over here. Let me see what I got. There's one. There's one. Okay, I'm back in. Oh, Lammy doesn't have a cartridge in it either. Man, you know what? Before we start this art class, I'm going to have to get busy. I got to do some maintenance here. I need a day off. That's the other thing about doing painting every day. When I was doing 100 straight, I was going like, I'm a crazy person. I didn't have time to turn around, do a video for the show, but I loved it, every minute of it. So, and I'm going to love this class. I just can't believe it. I'm going to do it. So thank you for your patience as we get into it, and you start thinking about which direction you're going to go with your own voice and what you love to paint. Okay, this is a mean old looking rooster. I'm just going to wet this up in here a little bit, show you how I can just splatter on and just make a painting out of this just with some quick pen marks and some splatter color, okay? So look at this. I'm taking some water. Here we go right here. Boom. Not even rinsing it out too much, and I'm not painting the water everywhere. I'm just putting it in places. So I'm letting the brush dance. I've got a loose grip on the brush back here. I'm not holding it in like I'm writing Miss Getty's, burgundy dress. I did say that, didn't I? I'm just putting this in here like this. And then I like this pin bleeding here. I just used a flare tip pin. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a little bit of red up here in his comb. Let me move this over so you can see it. I just like doing different styles like this. So you got to know that I don't try to just, first of all, to impress people with your art is impossible. Just have fun with your art and watch what it does. It will surprise you. Your art should surprise you sometimes. Okay? Lots of times. You should just go, man, you see how that turned out? And people go, how did you do that? And you go, ah. And they go, I know. You're speechless. And you go, I just don't know. It just happened. So sometimes you just let it happen. See, everybody who's a type A is right now, you're at home going like, is he going to color that in right there? That little piece that he left open? Is he going to fill that up? No, he's not. I'm just going to let it be. Why would he do that? One, because I only have an hour to paint with you. And two, I just like the feeling of that. The colors danced and it just happened. I love that. There's something about it that just makes me see art in a pleasing way. Carol is like that too. Sometimes she'll say, you know what my favorite pieces of art are? They're pieces that aren't finished. It's just like the painter just said, I'm out of here for a little while. I'm done with that art. I just want to go. I'm done. I got to watch it or I'll keep pushing it up there too. All right. So let's see. What do we need here? We need a little black in here, I think, right in there. Just a little bit. Need a little bit. I love sometimes when you ever thought about doing this, you just put a little black here like this and then watch. I'm just going to go get a clean brush and I'm going to get the brightest Gamboge yellow that I can get right here and just really get a lot of water. I'm just going to drop it right next to the black and look what it does. It just kind of dances around there a little bit. Just kind of flowers out, mushrooms out, I call it. Maybe a little blue in here now. Come in like this. You know, when that blue and that green hit together, or that yellow hit together, it's going to create a little bit of green. You kind of like this. Look at this. Just dancing down. Excuse me for coughing, but it is what it is. All right. Maybe a little bit of orange in here too, just down in this. Whoops, that just went yellow again. Out on the springtide. I like to listen to musicals sometimes. This is a musical that was written, never really cleared the Broadway stage. It's from Sting. It's called The Last Ship. Man, I love this musical. I'm so sorry it didn't make it to Broadway. If I'd have been a rich man, I would have supported him. All right. Let me go back through this here. Somebody said something here. Patricia said, I want to impress, I want to impress some all tight. Yeah. And Patricia, you can be brave. You can just, you can just be brave. And I know I said that because I have the tendency to go, oh gosh, I need to fill that in because it's going to look better. Or I need to clean this up because it ran into here. No, just sometimes just paint something and just let it alone. Just let it happen. Okay. You'll be so happy with it. I took an art teacher many years ago, and the teacher said, just dib and dab here and there, but you never could do it. Chris, it is so difficult. Builder's cough. Renee says I have builder's cough. MIT, this country wasn't built on chamomile. We do have a person, who has joined us from England on the show, or two, and we have a person from New Zealand who is tuning in to paint with me in the mornings. Is that fun? We're like, oh my gosh, that's pretty fun. Scotland, and that's and I think a person from Canada. So we're international. I like going in here with just a little bit of this and just doing a little dance around the eye here, just a tad. And I want a little bit of yellow right here on the part of the eye, right there. I just want a little touch of yellow. See that right there? Okay. So just a simple little rooster head, and I'll let that black just run down there a little bit. I also like a little shadow up in there sometimes. So sometimes I'll get a little bit of a brown or a oh yeah. Ooh. Now here I'm holding a pen again, see, but I think this is a blue pen too. It's not even a black Sharpie, kind of like that. An old one too. This is an old model, 1970. All right. The internet is amazing. Yeah, French gray is hard to find. What's comparable, Martina? Just a putty, a kind of a putty color of some sort. It doesn't have to be a French gray. It doesn't have to be a Sag Harbor gray. It doesn't have to be. Just go in there and you'll see about on the chart. You'll see about 5 grays. Get something that you would recognize as file cabinet putty. I'm trying to think. I don't know paint names. So, that's the thing I didn't study. Oh, this is a something, I don't know all those. So just enjoy it. And dove gray would be good. Robert, he's probably right. A dove is a little more, to me though, the dove that we have at our house are they're a little more darker gray. I'm looking for something that's putty. Let me show you what it looks like when it hasn't been. Look here. Look at that. Whoa, look at this. I put this little palette together. Isn't that great? A little silver box. There it is right there. Chicka-boom. Holds 6 little pans. There's the colors that we'll paint with on the show. Look here. See that gray right there? That's putty color. It is like chewing gum that's been chewed. It's like, it's like the putty. That's the color that teachers use to stick things on the board. That's a good little gray to use because you can tint it with a little black and a little green and you can have some fun with that, I think, if you wanted to. Okay? So that would be pretty awesome to do. All right. So file cabinet gray. Always remember that. See? What color are you using, sir? I think it's file cabinet gray. Wow, I really like it. Yeah, you should. Well, just name colors like that, huh? There we go. My pen just came back to life. Okay, so now I'm going to take this fountain pen and I'm just going to, it's got some speedball ink in it. I'm just going to go in here and touch some of these lines. And I have to keep going out here and drying it out a little bit. It gets too wet. Don't you love that? Look at this. And you know how you get little black spots in here, and I'll put maybe some eyelashes on this guy right here. The ship where there used to be a hole, and we don't know what. This is something you can add later if you're taking a class. I didn't necessarily add a fountain pen in there, but some of you picked up one already because you see me paint with it. If you want to get a fountain pen, joint compound gray. Alex, ta-da! Alex nailed it. I knew somebody would. Putty color is joint compound gray. And sometimes, though, joint compound can go a little on the white side, but that's okay because you can add a little pigment to it. I'm still going to stick with my file cabinet gray. What kind of fountain pen is that, please? It's a German-made one. It's about 30 years old, but I usually use this or I use a Lamy, and you can put speedball in the Lamy, and I use a Pilot pen, which is this one, but it has a fine nib as opposed to a medium nib, which I'm doing all these spots with. Fine nib doesn't let as much ink roll out, but it's great for just doing little sketches with, okay? So those are 3 fountain pens that I use. And, here's the thing. Use what you're comfortable with. Got just a few more minutes. And so there's this painting here. It's going like, hey, that's my cuppa. All right. He looks like he's a little unhappy there. The guys always get the long eyelashes. Yeah, someone provide a link for a good fountain pen. Micah, easiest fountain pen to maintain, control, and keep is go to Lamy, 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 Lamy. It's low maintenance. It's a good pen. And if you want to do what I just did with it, get the medium nib NIB. It's a great pen. Okay, and that way it's going to have less muss, fuss. It's great weight. Good pen. I think it's going to run you under $30, probably 20 something, but you're going to have it for a long, long time. Lamy, Lamy, there it is right there. Okay. Amazon, Michelle says she owns one. Where can I find half pans or full pans? Just go on Amazon and type in half pan. They'll come in a bag just like this. Take a look. I think a bag of these is probably $6. So just be careful when you're shopping for art supplies. Just because I sent you to Cheap Joe's, you don't have to get everything from there. I sent you there more for color than anything else. If some of you wanted to use the American Journey colors that I'm using, and by the way, some of these tubes are 15 milliliter. I never buy longer tubes. 8 would be plenty. An 8 millimeter tube, good grief. Don't use too much paint. Don't pour too much of your paint out. Look at this right here. Let me show you something. This palette right here, okay, with these half pans, not even full, less than half full, I bet you I could do 50 paintings out of this pan before I added paint, maybe more. No kidding. No kidding. So keep your paint closed up tight in the tubes, put out a little bit in the pans, and then introduce it as you need it. Everybody who puts out every color in the whole world, it's so confusing. It's like going to a buffet that has 300. It's like going to a deli that has 300 things on the menu. You go, oh my gosh, I don't know what I should eat. Great story that I went with some guys to New York many years ago, and we went to this deli in New York up around, it was back off of 50th or no 48th or somewhere anywhere. No, I don't even remember. But I just remember they had a menu that was like reading War and Peace. It was like a novel, and nobody could make a decision. And so the next night we all went to Tavern on the Green back when it was open, and there were 6 things on the menu. And everybody within 15 minutes had ordered, and we all had a pleasant dinner. And so sometimes this will help you be more creative instead of this. Okay? You don't need all this to start with. You need something as simple as this. So that's why I only chose 5 or 6 colors. I almost did 3 colors, but I know some of you want a green and a turquoise and maybe a putty or a lamp black to add black when you don't have it. So that's kind of why I did that. It wasn't that I'm trying to sell paint. I'm trying to get you to think like an artist and think differently. All right, there we go. Hey, it's 10 o'clock, so I don't know if I'm going to paint another one or not. Let me answer a couple questions. This painting right now is going for $200. I'll look back through there and see if there's anything higher than that. If not, I will put it in the mail and I'll give Ash a check for $200. In fact, if you want to, Lee, I'll send you an email address and you can just send it straight to him and just put Roodoodles on there. I don't even have to cross through my path, and I'll just mail this to you. Okay, that'd be fantastic. Okay, 54 miles to Hope, right there it is. And so some of you are getting ready to go on a Hope trip with me. If I see another bid on here, I'll throw it out. This morning, I won't throw it out. I mean, I'll let you know. But right now, I don't see another one in here this morning. I will post this rooster head, and I may put this out as a little auction link. Somebody wanted wins coming in, and I also have. Let's see, I had another painting that I was going to show you, but I don't know what happened to it. I got a couple paintings laying here that I'll just throw out. Not that one. The boar and the tie, and also there's a parade somewhere that needs me. And here's a good example of a piece of paper that has a lot of tooth in it. Look at the design in here. Sometimes when the paper has a lot of undulation in it, it gives you this skin like for the rooster, and I really do like that. Okay. So thank you for enjoying the show. Thank you for coming along. What green did you have in your small palette? Good question. I had a sap green, sap, S-A-P, sap green. Sometimes I'll just put that in there. It makes it easier than making green. Sometimes I'll use olive, but olive or sap, either one of those will work really well for kind of what you're trying to do with a little background. All right. So, hey, Roo's Crew closes tonight at 8:57, and the class is going to have some things where one of the things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, for the start in this pastiche world of copy and some other things, I'm actually going to do a couple paintings, and I'll PDF those ones to the Facebook page, and you can actually print them off and then trace them on some of your papers, so that the first couple paintings we do will actually be working on the same painting together, and you'll see how I say stop there or go here or don't overdo it here. So you won't have to worry about the sketch as much. Sketching will come later, but if you're good sketchers, you're going to love this, and you may want to go your own way. I'm just going to help you be loose, creative, and hopefully take you on a little journey. Blessings for letting me be in your home for an hour. Have another cup of tea before you finish it this morning, or a cup of coffee. The coffee's coming soon. Chip and I'll be in touch on that. I'll see you back here in the morning. Lord willing, I'll call Ash right now and tell him he just made $200 for Atlanta Project in Young Life. Have fun, have fun, have fun. Thank you. Here's what I'll do. I will dinner the Luca cup. It'll have my Roo on it pretty soon. I'm holding up a cup here. So here's what we'll do. I'll paint here tomorrow, good Lord willing. Sign up 8:57 before 8:57 p.m. tonight for Roo. And I got to find my harmonica. Here it is right here. It's time for me to quit. I'll answer any other questions when I have a bit here in the rain. Thank you for being with me this morning.